it's Würfel Reviews. Here we have Błażej, who is the designer of the Mistfall, and today he's gonna tell us about this wonderful game. And so, what you wanna say? Like, tell me about this game. Sell me this game. Sell this game to all the others who will see that video.
Well, Mistfall is a fully cooperative game that is quest-based. It means that you get a set of quests in the game. There is a quest book, and every time you set up the game, you use the quest to tell you how to set up the game and who will be the main villain of your quest. Now, every quest is set up semi-randomly. You get locations, and the locations that are here on the table, they are face-up, but they are face-up for presentational purposes. You would start with all of them face down, but it wouldn't look as much fun if I started like that every time I talk about the game. You also start always at the same location. Right. When you start the game, apart from having the main bad guy and the layout and some of the extra rules, you also choose your heroes. And every hero consists of 2 decks of cards. One of them is the basic deck, the deck they start the game with. The other one is the advanced deck. These are cards you can buy during the game. They are better abilities, things you can do in the game. You will also start with some starting cards. These are with some cards in your hero area. This is usually your starting gear. Now, what you have to do in the game is eliminate the final enemy, the villain, before your time runs out. And the time is tracked here on the Mistfall quest charter. You start on the position depending on the number of players, and you go down. If you manage to destroy the main villain before the time runs out, then you've won the game. But if the time runs out on you before you can do this, everybody loses. Now, during every turn, there will first be some reinforcements, some new enemies coming in. Then you will be able to travel the map. So basically what you can do is you can travel to any adjacent location. You can also use one resolve point to actually scout out a location before you travel to it. So you can flip it and take a look at what it is. Locations always start perilous. A perilous location has 1 wound token on it, and when you enter a perilous location, you will have to draw an encounter. An encounter will tell you what type of enemies and how many of those enemies will come out on the board, but it will also give you a set of small rules on how to successfully finish the encounter. Usually, you can either destroy all of the enemies, or you can do something else that will place objective tokens on the encounter card, and when a given number of these is reached, the encounter ends. And when the encounter ends, you get a few important things. The location becomes safe. That's very important because then you get rewards, and then you can rest in the location. A very important element of the game is it has a kind of a deck building aspect, but you build it in a way a little different from the classic deck builders, which means that during your turn you can buy advanced cards for resolve, and an advanced card goes directly into your hand to be used. Now, when you discard cards when you use them, or when the enemies get to attack you, and whenever enemies attack you and you cannot cancel damage, you have to move some of the cards from your hand, from your deck, or from your discard pile into your burial pile. At one point you might run out of cards. It does not mean you're automatically destroyed. You need a little bit more of that. However, when you heal, you get a number of points that allow you to put cards back into your deck. And this is very important how it works. You take the cards from your discard pile and you choose the cards you want, and after that, after you've chosen the cards, you put them back under the deck in the order you want to. So you shuffle the deck only in the beginning of the game, and then as you create powerful combinations you want to do again, you can simply place them under the deck every time you rest.
So you build the deck completely strategically, knowing everything.
Exactly, you both build and stack the deck. This is the core mechanism of Mistfall for a very simple reason. I wanted a game that would have a random setup, that would have random types of enemies coming in. So we actually have 3 different decks of enemies. One of them is your beastmen, your beasts, and shamans and so on. The other one is a deck of vile humans who are corrupted and crazed. And the third deck is the deck of the undead, your vampire bats, your skeletons, your zombies. Actually, I have a lot of vampire bats here, but for example, your vampire hound or your ghosts. Each of them is very specific, and when you eliminate them, you receive resolve that allows you to become better. But the idea is that the setup is random, so that the game is variable every time you play it. But the combat is deterministic, up to the point that the deck is also built and stacked the way you want it to be stacked. For that reason, I'd like to call this more or less a thinking person's adventure game. It has a lot of theme. There is a world built specifically for this game with its lore and its stories, and you can actually read all of them both on our site and in the quest guide, which is added kind of if you want to know the biographies of the heroes or of the villains, you can read them there. So there is a lot of variability here. Apart from that, there are 7 fully playable different characters, each with their own starting and advanced decks, 4 adventures, and you can play the same quest with the same hero, and you will have a different experience because of how the locations are placed and how encounters work.
All right, and then you get I see that the game is quite text heavy here.
Yes.
Did you make it clean enough for players to understand? How are the rules? Does it get really complex?
Well,
going into the rules, going into all these details, or
it is a game with a certain learning curve. One, it comes from the fact that it has a few innovative mechanisms that work differently. A lot of people, when they play this game for the first time, they would ask me, okay, I ran out of cards, do I reshuffle? I guess I reshuffle. No, you don't reshuffle, you have to heal. That's one of the things. The other thing is that there are many small details and there are many card interactions, and of course, when you start playing, you immediately get access not only to your deck, but also to the deck of advanced cards, which are 15 cards. You can take any of them at any time. So when you play the character for the first time, it will take a little more time, it will have a little steeper curve, but it pays for it in spades, as every character has its own combos, every character has their own tricks they can do, and it's not only about eliminating enemies. Some of the characters do more advanced things. The Seeker, who is basically a rogue, changes the positions of the enemies and, flanks them. Whereas, for example, the priest can be both a healer and someone who hunts undead. And, for example, if you have the priest, what you might want to do is, on your way, you might actually want to choose the locations which say Deadlands, because you will be most probably meeting undead enemies, and the priest is especially good against them. So there are many layers of the game, but it's very rewarding.
So this suggestion to the watchers and players is that don't decide on the first game, try it once more if you didn't understand it enough.
Actually, there is an introductory quest here, so it's probably a good idea to start with the introductory quest.
Oh, great.
You can also play this game solo. You can play each hero solo, so if you're the person who's going to explain the game and you want to feel really confident, it's very simple. Just set up the game, take a character for a spin, and you will know everything you need to know by the end of your first game.
All right, yeah. So I think now it's in the retail everywhere.
Yes, absolutely. It is just going into retail. We have copies here. It was Kickstarted. The game was Kickstarted. That allowed us to put more heroes, more enemies, more encounters, and more quests in the base game.
So they're not Kickstarter exclusive. You will get almost everything.
Most of this is in this box. There were some Kickstarter limited elements, but for example, all of the extra heroes are in this box, and everyone will get them with a retail copy.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.